Hello and welcome to the Leadership Room. Today, my guest is James Sundin. Now, James is one of the co-founders of Represent, and I'm going to let him explain exactly what Represent is and what they do. So, James, tell us a little bit about Represent.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on your time zone and when you're listening to this recording. What do Represent do? We intentionally confuse the hell out of our ICP, our total addressable market, on purpose. So the reason why, human nature by design, we are naturally inquisitive, right? If we don't know the answer to something, we go and ask somebody else, which actually spreads our brand awareness. Or if we don't know the answer to something, we go and ask the people responsible for providing that service, which generates ourselves as a lead, which is exactly what we want to happen in sales and marketing, right? What we actually do, right now we are in stage 2 of our organization. So we focus on 5 areas, predominantly focused for 2 market verticals, which are SaaS, but also accountants and finance directors. So we provide commercial growth services, compliance resourcing services, human capital management, IT, and technology. So those themselves are huge areas, right? Can you always get information onto a video or content onto a website, regardless, by the way, of how gifted a copywriting team that you've got? Can you always get information and detail to clients for them to ascertain by themselves exactly where they're going to need help from you? No. But what you can do is create an energy, a buzz, a brand. You can get people so interested that they have no idea what you do, but they see the people that you work with and they see the amazing results that you provide. Not the services, but the overall impact of what you do.
I think that's such an interesting perspective from a marketing point of view. Did you choose to do it that way, or did it just kind of happen organically?
Correct. So yeah, absolutely chose to do that. So I like to play the persona and have the facade of a bumbling idiot northern guy that has got way too much time in his hands and has an insane positivity for life, right? That is ultimately who I am. It was intentional, and going into the specifics, like any credible marketing organization will tell you, quote unquote, around this, you need to niche, you need to be direct, you need to be focused, you need to do one thing and you need to talk about it again and again and again and again and again. And then actually what will happen is subconsciously your clients, your ideal client profile, when that need arises, they will automatically know, whether it be subconsciously or consciously, who to go to for help and support within that remit, right? We're different in many, many different ways. But that marketing or brand engine, we wanted to do the exact opposite of what any great marketing team would tell us to do. And do you know what it is? It's clearly worked.
I think that's brilliant. I think one of the things that I get from your branding and certainly from your personal brand is this, like, when people ask me about James Sundin, I'm always like, it's relentless positivity. Like, your LinkedIn is the most positive environment on the internet, I would argue. Like, you're just exuding this positivity. So is that, obviously that's a conscious personal branding thing.
Yes.
Does that come naturally from your personality, or have you had to curate that over time?
No, it's a great question. It's completely natural. Do you know what's a really nice thing? When people have been influenced or have been educated as to who you are from the social media aspect, but then they meet you in person, and people that meet me in person typically say 2 things. You're a lot bigger than you look on a Teams call. Seems to be the biggest one being 6'6". The second thing that's kind of said is you're exactly who you are on social media, right? Like, if we think about, and for everyone here, we think about that personal brand, we think about who you are, especially if you are a director, a partner, somebody that is involved in winning new clients or growing relations with existing clients from a revenue perspective, right? What are the 3 things that are important for your client to buy from you? Number 1 is approachability. Could they have a laugh, have a joke with you? Could they get on with you? Could they build a relationship with you? So actually the insane positivity, well, if you don't like it, I don't care, because I probably don't want you as a client, right? If you're not going to be a positive person in life, wherever we possibly can, I probably don't want to work with you. And I can't expect any of our teams around the globe to work with you either. But the next point is that credibility piece, right? You take away that facade of the happy-go-lucky, heavily tattooed northern man from a council estate that's beaten his battles with alcohol addiction, with drug addiction, that has been to some incredibly dark places in life but happens to have come through it. Well, actually, who can't relate to that story in some way, shape or form, right? Who hasn't had issues that they've overcome? But then you add in the credibility piece, the clients that you work with, the difference that you make, the reason why, your culture, your DNA, right? These are buzzwords to some people, but if you get it right and you get it focused very, very well, people know and understand the reason why I'm here on this earth isn't to win business from you. It's to positively impact the lives of children and young adults around the globe. That's why I'm here. That's my why. That's my purpose. Everything else about making money and providing service in whatever way we do it, that's just the gateway to doing the reason, or doing what I'm here to do, right? And can your personal brand display that? Yeah, not to everyone in the exact way you'd want it to. Might rattle some feathers, rattle some cages and pull some feathers, but it's who you are. Why do you need to be anything different from exactly who you are as a person?
Okay, I think there's two questions that I want to ask. The first is, when it comes to represent, obviously, part of your kind of business goals or whatever, it is charity, right? So
yes,
what are you guys doing exactly when it comes to charity? Because I think this is awesome.
Yeah, cool, man. Thank you. A couple of different bits to it. If I look at what we've done over the last 12 months, right? So when we've, it's not even been 12 months that we've been actively going to market. That's the funniest thing here, right? We are a bootstrap startup that's taken my entire life savings, and Antonetta, who's my OG co-founder and represent group, it's taken everything from us financially, mentally, physically, but we've invested everything into it, right? And though we're less than 12 months in, stuff that we've been getting involved with, there's an incredible charity called Key for Life that I've been heavily involved with. So Key for Life was set up back, I believe, 2008. Don't quote me on that in a court of law, please, Your Honour. They can articulate this far better than I can. But it was set up by Sir Bob Geldof in response to riots in London, where there was children as young as 10 rioting. They do some incredible things with young men, young women, whether those be at risk of offending and going to prison as a result of, or with regards to rehabilitation, education, and setting up young men from coming out of prison, getting back into the real world, without having to then come back, get out of prison after time served, and re-escape to a life of crime, right? So the work that I've done with them has been mentoring a young man who is still in prison, spending a bit of time with him, working with him on business ideas, a few other different bits and bobs, but not necessarily appropriate to go into specific details or name him. Other stuff that we've been involved with has been the equivalent of like Dragon's Den. So though I don't aspire to be, Peter Jones or Stephen Bartlett or anything else, like, mad respect to them, but hey, I don't want that fame. As far as I'm concerned, I want a pretty simple life, right? But getting involved, getting the entrepreneurial spirit brought out of them and educated has made a huge difference to the confidence of these young men's lives, and actually gives them the ability to see that there's a different life outside of that of just crime, selling drugs, or whatever else that might eventually lead you back to prison. Outside of that, we get involved with various different charities along the way. So the good people at Karma, amazing organisation. They employ ex-veterans in the UK. They plant trees, kelp, various different things. They look at various different things for a business in relation to managing their carbon emissions. Incredible service what they do. And myself, being from a long line of servicemen, really emotively speaks to me. And who doesn't care about saving the environment, right? Get on board or bugger off, right? Everyone should be involved with that. But then the other thing, I guess outside of that, so there are three schools in India with a total of 900 children, and also an orphanage that they have supporting 25 children on a full-time basis. We have already invested for books, benches. We've been feeding children. We have rebuilt roofs and structures within the schools themselves. To give you a realistic view of what that was like, having visited the schools myself personally, when I was last in India in September of 2024, imagine the most unbearable heat and conditions where within 20 seconds of being in a room, you're profusely sweating and gasping for air, and then having to learn in that environment, because the only thing that is protecting you from the sun is a very thin tin roof. So for the entirety of this school, we've rebuilt the roofs with insulated materials. So it's actually now more of a palatable temperature, more amenable to be able to learn in, if that makes sense. I know I'm from the north, so, we often get, minus degrees. So me acclimatizing to that weather would be difficult, as opposed to somebody that, lives in India already. But just absolutely unbearable conditions for these children to be able to be educated in. And I think, let's start, let's invest. But again, we're a bootstrap startup, but we're already making stuff happen here.
Okay, so that brings me on to my second question, which was, you say you're a startup, you've only just kind of begun this journey, right? What have you learned in the last kind of year, 12 months?
How long have we got?
Broad question, right?
What have I learned in the last 12 months to a year?
Okay, how about what have you learned about business and what have you learned about yourself personally?
I think the biggest learning could be summarized in this phrase: whether you tell yourself you can do something or you tell yourself you can't, you must probably right. The key is working with multiple different people who are better than you in different fields or different areas. Like an example being, a lot of people don't go and chase their dreams, if we're going to be corny about it, right? But if we're going to be realistic about it, a lot of people don't do that thing that they should have done, whether that be a business, a new job, whatever else. You hold yourself back from limitations that other people might put on you historically. But those limitations, if you think about it, you forced onto yourself. If you want to do things, you want to grow a business, you want to do it well, work with people that are better than you and stay in your lane. So if you are, like me, driven by new business, I do one thing in this cluster of an organization that we've put together, right? I sell our business or I sell our clients' businesses. That's all I have responsibility and control and input over. Don't get me wrong, there's a few things of administration that come along the way that really frustrate and annoy me, but I just love sales. What I don't love is finance. I don't love business plans and forecasts and cash flow and deferred tax, but actually that's why we've got Graham Tannick, a multi-award-winning CFO, as one of our co-founders. Also because he's a great guy and one of my best mates in the entire world. That just so happens to be part of it. But you need to bring in people that have got skill sets better than your own in particular areas where you've got shortfalls, right? Stay laser focused on what you need to do and how you need to do it. But then whether it's as co-founders, whether it's employees, whether it's as subcontractors or partners that you're bringing in to provide a particular service for you, any business has got the ability to be able to do that as they grow and scale. And actually bringing in external help has been critical to us. Don't get me wrong, where we provide service delivery, we do that ourselves from our own employees, in our own organizations, UK limited companies, or even the subsidiaries of those UK limited companies overseas. But actually from a marketing perspective, that's been really beneficial to have like Jay Consulting support us with our marketing efforts, with our website build, with what we've done and how we've done it, with the plethora of press releases that we put out. And, the next one's coming out tomorrow. So looking forward to getting that back from Jacob, right? But you need people with skill sets outside of what yours are in order to really succeed. Be self-aware, work out where your gaps are, and then go find the right people to fill those gaps. Because, that's really going to support what you need to in order to grow. Those are my, I guess, pearls of wisdom, lessons, or boring monologues of what we found in the first 12 months.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of business owners struggle with, because it's a control thing, right? Like part of you has to give up a little bit of control over, for example, the finances so that you can focus on the sales, right? Do you think a lot of business owners kind of fall down in that and try and take on too much, and they should be not outsourcing, but like letting other people come in and help them with it?
So there's two parts to that. So you've started off, you need to let go of the finance so you can focus on the sales. What if you're not good at sales? You don't want to be. You actually hate it, but you're very good at finance. So I'd say step one, work out what you actually want to do. What gives you fulfillment? What gives you enjoyment and passion? Because naturally, if we like doing something, we are better at it. Point number one. But yeah, like not just a review of the accounting and finance industry, but multiple industries overall, like especially startups, founded businesses, whether those be, VCP backed or whether they be bootstrapped, right? This is your baby. This is your income, your money on the table, the family holidays that you get, time seeing your kids. It's personal, right? This is your business. Or even if it's not your business, it's your income, it's your livelihood, it's your job, your role. The hours upon hours upon hours of sacrifice that you've put through over the last 20 years in order to get to the level of seniority that you've got now. You've got that all riding on it. So naturally, we want to keep that safe, we want to keep it contained. But where you start to bring other people in a structured way, and bold underlined there, if I didn't emphasize in a structured way, well enough, whether that's people, suppliers, whether it's technology, doesn't matter what it is, by not doing that, you're missing out. And if you look at the most forward-thinking, rapid-growing organizations, they're bringing in the right people, the right software, the right technology. They're not being precious and they're kind of letting go. But letting go in a structured way is absolutely critical. And yeah, is the accountancy and finance industry overall, guilty of that? Yes. But it's not just the accounting and finance industry. And it happens to affect an awful lot of either C-level execs or even, owner-managed businesses, regardless of industry that you look at.
Okay. So obviously, this podcast is all about leadership, right? So how would you describe your leadership style? I imagine you're as positive, as you are on LinkedIn.
Yeah, why not? That's exactly who I am. So there's no personal brand or who I am divide, right? I think my leadership style, what can I say about that? That might be slightly PC and wouldn't be edited out. Hopefully fun, relaxed, chilled, yet full of energy and enthusiasm. It's really important. We are onboarding 4 new employees in the UK in the offices that we open in Newcastle on the 17th of March, right? I've got really clear expectation with the team that are starting with us. I'm not employing you to tell you what to do. I'm employing you so you can tell me what you need. Micromanagement is a familiar term that we've all got, but what is micromanagement? Is it achieving KPIs? Is it working with your manager, your director, the business owner in order to achieve them? Or is it the person responsible for making sure that you deliver? It's their job and their responsibility to support you in doing that. So my style is very much so. I only hire self-aware people. That's number one thing that I look for, because if you're not self-aware, you can't tell me where you need help or support. If you can't tell me where you need help or support and you're not able to do the job, well, it's not going to work, because I'm not going to micromanage you and sit with you and say, here's what you do, here's how you do it, check in with me every 30 minutes to make sure it's been done. We're all adults. Crack on. Do your job. There's more to life than just making money. Let's make some money. Let's make a hell of it, right? A hell of a lot of it. Let's enjoy life outside of work. Like the way that I see it, and I broadcast this internally on a very regular basis and have no shame in doing so externally. The only people in our organization that work for anyone else is our co-founders for our employees. It's not the other way around. People don't work for me. I work for them because it's my job to make sure they're happy, they're supported, and they're able to do their job. I think loads of businesses are too quick to get rid of employees because they're not performing. So it's not just sales, but it could be any industry or any field, right? Like if you think accountancy, again, a generalization, but accountancy, very quick to take somebody on for technical skills, but very quick to let them go for a lack of personal skills. You need both to be a very good accountant nowadays, especially with the emergence of technology and the buzzword of the moment, AI taking over, right? You need to be a great communicator, able to help somebody actually grow their business, right? But if you've not trained someone, you've not supported them, you've not shown them how they should be doing it, you haven't invested your time, your energy, your resource into them to make them the best they can possibly be, how can you hold them accountable to some KPIs, metrics, or even let them go if you've not invested in them firstly? So yeah, I guess that's my leadership and management style. Lead from the front, crack on, and make sure your people are well looked after. Otherwise, don't hold them accountable to something that's impossible for them to do.
I love it. I think that's awesome. Okay, so you said you're hiring a couple more employees. What's next for Represent in the next sort of 12 months? Unless it's a state secret and we can't know, but what's coming up?
So headline figures, by the end of 2025 will be up to about 150 staff globally. So that will be across India, UK, Romania, potentially an additional geography that we've not released to market as of yet, but that we have been running some very extensive pilots with some of our very, very happy clients behind the scenes, because that's how we do it, right? We don't release something to the market that's not ready. We break it, we fix it, we make it better, we change it, we get feedback, we roll it out to clients, we then prove success. We'll then support our sales and marketing engine once we release it. So yeah, I don't mess around, right? I don't release something that's going to create me a headache in the future. So really important. So yeah, headcount covered off. Team in the UK, I reckon we'll get to about 25 members of staff who are full-time UK-based salespeople supporting either the growth of Represent or the organizations that we provide commercial growth services for. There will be additional services coming out. So one's coming out when we get to the 1st of April, i.e. the first day of Digital Accountancy Show. That's when we go into stage 3. We will be doing some tweaks on some of our existing services because actually, when you start cracking on and going for it, some stuff doesn't necessarily have very good product market fit in line with your ICP, right? So it's the ability to change, learn, develop, grow, tweak. All great fun, right? Every business should be doing that. But we also roll out additional services that nobody's seen coming, just like they never saw us coming in the first place. What's James Sundin doing starting a business? Oh, right, Represent. What's that anagram speak, isn't it? Okay. Oh, what's he gone and done? Yeah. So same thing there, but I think if we think about it in this way, the buzzword of the moment, AI, yeah, it's changing industries, it's changing the world, it's changing lives, changing what people do and how people do it. So what could we do which enables AI at scale for the industries we work with? Point number one. What could we do to further elevate all of the great feedback that we get from our existing clients across all of our services lines across Represent Group? What could we do if we had a very skilled Chief AI Officer? And what have we been doing already in the background without anyone knowing about it? You might see a little bit of that on the 1st of April.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, James.
Pleasure.